Let's go on with post-reading work of the story The Rocking Horse Winner, Theory of Oedipus Complex. The Oedipus complex is named after the Greek mythical character Oedipus, who, albeit unknowingly, kills his father and marries his mother. According to Freud, the Oedipus complex is a universal phenomenon responsible for much unconscious guilt. In psychoanalytic theory, it is a group of largely unconscious, dynamically repressed ideas and feelings which center around the desire to possess the parent of the opposite sex and eliminate the parent of the same sex. According to classical theory, the complex appears during the so-called Oedipal phase, in other words, between the ages of 3 and 5, though Oedipal manifestations may be detected earlier. Snodgrass offered a Freudian interpretation of the story. He argued that Paul's desire to be lucky represents an Oedipal desire to replace his father in his mother's life. Plot. What do you learn in the exposition or introduction of the story, The Rocking Horse Winner? Exposition is the opening of the story, general atmosphere and mood existing at the beginning of the story. When a reader is exposed to the story, he or she identifies the setting, gets acquainted with the main idea of the story. Exposition also introduces the conflict of the story, at least initial conflict. Thus, exposition serves opening of the story, contains the setting, and introduces the characters. What events are included in the rising action of the story, The Rocking Horse Winner? Rising action is a series of events and conflicts which rise and progress intensively. The events and conflicts of the story gradually complicate and move towards the climax. Rising action usually suggests introducing knots. What is the climax of the story, The Rocking Horse Winner? Climax is a Greek word which means staircase or ladder. It is the turning point, the most intense moment of the story. Climax usually involves a discovery and suggests a crucial event. Theme and symbols. A symbol in a literary work may often enhance the work's theme by suggesting multiple meanings, references, or associations. What does the rocking horse symbolize in the story? What does Paul's attachment to his rocking horse symbolize? Characters. Paul seems to possess the power that the ordinary people do not have. How does the author describe him? What is his glance like? What language devices does the author use when he speaks about Paul's eyes? What does Paul's mother mean when she calls her husband unlucky? Does this reveal something about her as a person? Can you characterize Bassett the gardener? The narrator tells the reader that he was a shortish fellow with a little brown mustache and sharp little brown eyes, tiptoed into the room, touched his imaginary cap to Paul's mother, and stole to the bedside, staring with glittering, smallish eyes at the tossing, dying child. Does this description tell you something about his personality? Point of view. Third-person narrative mode. Third-person narration provides the greatest flexibility to the author and thus is the most commonly used narrative mode. In every third-person narrative mode, the focal character or characters are referred to as he, she, it, or they, but never as I or we, first person, or you, second person. The third-person modes are usually categorized as subjective narration and objective narration. The third-person objective mode gives an objective point of view. It tells a story without describing any character's thoughts, opinions, or feelings. It cannot tell the reader what thoughts are going through the minds of the characters. The third-person subjective is between omniscient and limited. David Lawrence wrote the story in omniscient third-person point of view, enabling him to reveal the thoughts of the characters. Third-person omniscient. The third-person omniscient perspective has been most commonly used. It is seen in countless classic novels. This is a tale told from the point of view of a storyteller who plays no part in the story, but knows all the facts, including the characters' thoughts. One advantage of omniscience is that this mode enhances the sense of objective reliability, in other words, truthfulness, of the plot. The third-person omniscient narrator is the most reliable narrator, or in any case the narrator least capable of being unreliable. Although the omniscient narrator can have its own personality, offering judgments and opinions on the behavior of the characters. Find illustrative examples of the above narrative types in literature. Analyze the narrative types in The Rocking Horse Winner.